Right, okay, let's just check that that is on. Yes, it is. Now, I got jack shit sleep last night. Like, just terrible night's sleep, like proper insomnia. But, if you saw my latest community section, you will know that I did this video once already without a mic. So, we're back. We are doing it again.
I'm so excited.
We have our cup of tea in my Mr. Perfect mug. Let's go.
I've been in your waters.
What is poppin', people, and welcome back to another tattoo tips video. Okay guys, like I said, I am really tired. I did not get no sleep last night, so please bear with me. But there is a few things that I want to go over in this video. This video is a tattoo critique video. I am critiquing your work that you have sent me through. However guys, a critique is aimed for you to listen to so you can get better. So please don't take anything to heart that is said in this video if your work does get shown. I know what critiques can be like, and you could do something that you are really proud of, and then somebody comes along and just absolutely tears it to bits, and it can be very disheartening. So please don't get disheartened. Please don't take anything to heart. Take the information for what it is. Use that information, and if you want to, you know, apply it to your next tattoo, then by all means do that. If you don't, then don't. Also, I've decided that anybody that has their critique showcased in this video, I will not be naming and shaming, so to speak. I don't want anybody's information to come across if they don't want that information to be put out there. Obviously, this is a video and it is out for the public, so I'm not really into, you know, putting your name out there. If you want to like comment on this video and you want to say thank you, or you want to agree with me or disagree with me and let people know that that was your tattoo, then fair enough, you can do that. But I personally feel that it's better if I don't name you who sent this tattoo in. For all I know, you may want to stay anonymous. You may feel like that it's a really bad critique and you wish that people didn't know that it was your tattoo. So yeah, it's just easier. Before we start guys, as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on those bell notifications to get notified every time I upload a new video. If you are new around here and this is your first video and you've happened to stumble upon it, there is a tattoo tips playlist for you to go and peruse. I'm sure you'll find something on there. If you see anything, you like anything, again, hit that subscribe button. Also guys, if you learn anything from my videos, do me a favor, go over to my Instagram and drop me a follow. Anyway, on to the first critique. So, critique number 1. Just want to point out guys that I will be looking down a lot, but it is because I am looking off my iPad, so I'm sorry that there's no eye contact. Yes. Anyway, critique number 1. Let's go. So this is critique number 1. It was sent in via email and it is a scorpion tattoo. Now, I did happen to find what looks like the actual reference that this artist used for this tattoo to compare against. A critique is hard to do when you haven't got the reference, so when I can find the reference, I am going to be looking for the reference just to compare. But firstly, off of the first like bit of information what I could give you on this tattoo would be the claw. Zooming into the claw, I can see that you've tried to get the texture in there, which is really, really good. However, what you've not done is you haven't quite created the actual look of the texture. You've tried to put the basic information in there, but what you've not done is you haven't got the direction of the texture. I think you've possibly used the wrong needle for the texture also. What you've done is a little bit too fat of a needle. The texture on the claw is very, very, very small. What you've also not done is you haven't put any of the fur on the claw. Like further round on the second claw, you have put some of the hairs in there. However, they're not really fine. If you look at the reference closely, it's fine hair. You've gone in and you've done a few strands on the underneath and on the claw itself, which is good. It is good. However, you haven't quite achieved the look. When it comes to doing that, you might want to use a smaller needle and a lighter grey wash. Secondly, what you haven't done is if you look at the reference, you can clearly see where the body starts, where the body ends, and where the head starts and where the head ends. However, on your tattoo, you have not got that separation between the head and the body. If you look at the reference, you can see that there is a line that goes down on the body right here, but looking at your tattoo, it is there, but it's not solid enough. So what you need to be doing is you need to be introducing a liner or a round shader and really concentrating on getting that line, because it's so important. It is, like I said, separating the head and the body. Same with the front of the face. Zooming it in on the front face area, you can clearly see everything on this image, but on your tattoo, it's a little bit muddled. It's possible, but it's possible that this tattoo was a little bit too beyond you. All in all, I think you've done a really good job at trying to nail this tattoo. There's definitely things wrong with it that you could improve on. That being your texture and just paying attention to your reference, introducing those liners, introducing those round shaders, and separating the details rather than what you've done on this one, which is kind of getting them all muddled up. Okay, critique number 2 was sent in by this person with this tattoo. Now, I will point out that on the email they did say that this is the first tattoo that they have ever done, which, to say this is your first tattoo that you've ever done, props to you for it being your first tattoo, but let's get in there, let's get zoomed in, and let's see what we can see. So first off, for your first tattoo, I do not know why you would do a stomach. Stomachs are really hard to do. What you've done here is a really hard placement. What you've also done is you've tried to do a circle, and you've tried to do a circle on a stomach. So you haven't made things easy on yourself for your first tattoo, trust me. Stick to legs, stick to lower legs, stick to upper legs. Don't be this guy and do a stomach on your first tattoo anyway. Zooming in, I can see on the upper left portion that there is skin coming through that black, which tells me that that black is not packed in solid enough. Moving round to the right hand side, on the tip of the spiral that you've got going, you can see that it's very shaky. That needs tightening up, and also again, your black is not solid in this area. Down to the lower right hand side portion of this tattoo, there is some discoloration there, so it kind of looks like you might have blown out a little bit when you've been lining in. Same again, it's just not solid in this area either, so it really needs a touch up when it comes to healing the tattoo. Your line work does need some work. It looks like that you might have done a 3, not really cared too much because you knew that you was filling it in black, but because your black isn't solid, you can still see your line work, and you can still see the discrepancies in your line work. So yes, your line work does need work. The spiral on the inside, again, like I said, this is a really freaking hard tattoo that you've tried to do for your first tattoo on a stomach and a spiral. For what you have done, it's a really good effort. It is a really, really good effort. I sincerely mean that. I have seen worst first tattoos, put it that way. But what I would recommend when it comes to going back into this tattoo is using a fatter liner, maybe a 5 or a 7, thickening those lines up, making it a little bit neater, especially on the end of the spiral, and really packing that black. But other than that, this is a first tattoo, so I can't critique it too much. It is just fundamentals on this one, line work and packing, 2 fundamentals that you need to get down. But please, 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 if you are new to tattooing, do not do placements like this. Stick to flat areas, meaty areas like the top of the leg, alright? You have not done yourself any favours with this one. But there you go. Okie dokie, on to critique number 3. I will point out that in the email it did say done with a liner coil machine. Now I had to break that down a little bit. I was confused whether the artist meant that they'd done this whole thing with a liner or a coil machine that is set up for a liner, and I think it was that one. So getting straight into the tattoo, looking at the family portion of the tattoo is perfectly fine. You've got a possible overwork on there with the texture that I can see, but I don't think it's going to be anything too drastic. You could just fill that in again if you have overworked it, but the neatness of the family it's pretty okay. You know, it's not the greatest, but it is okay. Moving further down around the cross area, it kind of looks like you might have blown out slightly on the cross. And also these areas here, it's looking a little bit red where you've tried to grey wash, but it's not so red around the other areas. And I don't know if that's like you've gone in later on and the skin settled, or you've just slightly gone a little bit too much with the lighter pigment, but it is very red. It looks very, very irritated, so possible touch up on that area also, but just pay attention if you are using lighter washes, that you're not going ham until you can see the wash. So yeah, that's what I would say about that bit. Now moving up to the hands, I can see one of the biggest problems that you have in this tattoo is you seem to line everything. You've almost bloodlined or grey wash lined the hands and the clouding, and all that does is detract from the realism aspect of the tattoo. So I can see down here you've done a blood line or a grey wash line down the side of this vein, and then also down the side of the hand. You did not need to do that line down the side of the hand because the left portion of the 2 hands is black. So if you'd have packed in black, you would have got the line of that hand in there perfectly fine without a blood line. All that's happened is now you can see that those lines all over the hand, and it's just not a good look for a realism tattoo. If that's the look that you was going for, then fair enough, you've nailed it. But my personal opinion, lines, blood lines on faces, hands, anything skin, is not great. Now you've done lines around here as well on the clouds. Again, wouldn't have been so bad if you didn't have the negative space there. But because you've got that negative space, you can see that line, and again, it just takes away that realism aspect. Same with the light rays. Pack, if you're gonna do black light rays, make sure you pack them in. You've got a nice whip shade on them though, which is perfectly fine. My next critique, what I'd say is the fingers area. You've done black going down the inner fingers as the shadows, but what you haven't done is you have not transitioned off the black. Transitioning off that black into the fingers and it not being so harsh would have given you a more of a realistic look, and it would have also served to add more depth to the actual fingers themselves. Now the final thing what I would say about this tattoo is your rosary beads are really dark. There's no reflection in them, there's no white in them, there's no depth to them. They are literally just black, so you don't get no roundness from the rosary beads. Now if the rosary beads were this dark and they didn't have any reflections, then the hands would be way darker than what you've done them, so the tattoo as a whole doesn't make sense. What you need to be doing is you need to be concentrating on each bead individually, making sure you get the look of that bead, get the roundness of that bead, get the light source of that bead in there, again for the realistic aspect of the tattoo. Now again, it's hard for me to critique without reference. The reference that you've used on this tattoo may have been like this, it may have been somebody's drawing, for example, and the black in the fingers may have been like that, and you have just literally done what you have seen. But looking at it from my perspective, those are things that I would say about this tattoo. This is the tattoo we have for critique number 4. First off, it's a good job. Like it's a really good job. The email said that he's halfway through his tattoo course or apprenticeship, and this is what he's done. And honestly, man, like this is a really good effort. It's a solid effort. Your lines are okay for the most part. There's a few discrepancies in your lines. Up on this top area here, you can see where there's it almost looks like you've stopped and started the line. You've stopped the line at the end and picked the line back up, and it's left this little dot on the end of the line. When it comes to doing a line, make sure you start and stop. I would have started here and moved around and finished here, rather than stopping halfway through your line. That's the impression I get from it. I may be wrong, but that's the impression I get. For the most part, your shading is pretty solid. Again, there's a few bits in it. Over this side here on the right hand side, it's really nice and smooth, but then on this upper area here, it's not so smooth, and same on the left hand side here, it's also not so smooth next to the line. Now coming into the eye area, your lashes are really good. Like those are really good lashes. However, what you've not done is the black underneath the lashes is not solid enough, so your lashes are coming forward. When it comes to top of the eyes, you're always going to get a shadow cast on the top of the eye from your eyelashes, but your eyelashes are never going to be darker than what the shadow is. So definitely pack in that black. It could be the fact that you've just used a single or a tight 3 to get these lashes in, and they're, you know, it's a lot more denser, but to me it doesn't look like you've packed in black like really well in this area. It doesn't look solid enough. Kind of looks almost like you've used a dark wash rather than black. If that's the case, don't be scared of black. Pack black in there. Black is your friend. Coming further down, yeah, you need to transition from your black into blue a lot better. Looks like you've gone black straight into a blue, but what I would have done is black into a dark blue into a lighter blue, just to get some more depth in there. The corner of the eye, for me, just needs to be a little bit sharper. You need to spend a little bit more time on the corner of that eye, and then you just need to tighten up the bottom of the eye also. Saturation is saturated quite well. You have got some negative space in there, but there might be a little bit too much negative space, especially on the bottom lid of the eye. I would have just used a light wash and gone over that. That way you'd have kept your highlights, but you wouldn't have had so much negative space. But all in all, it's a decent tattoo. Well done. this is critique number 5. I can see it's an Anubis tattoo, so one, I can tell who it is, so you're onto a winner. Let me just point that out. Straight off the bat, your line work. If you look over here on the left ear, your line work is very, very, very shaky. What I would recommend to counteract that is a tight 5 or a tight 7 to get a thin line look, but the needle itself will be a lot more forgiving. So if you do have shakiness on skin, it eliminates that more and more and more. Thin needles for a shaky hand is not great. In a 3 or a single, you are gonna see every little bit of shake in that line. So I would highly recommend you swap to tight 5s or really, really tight 8 gauge 7s. Your shading is very choppy. Your shading needs work. Also down on the left hand side, this tongue area, I'm struggling to make out whether that's tongue or some sort of fire. So you might want to go back into that and just, you know, tighten that up and give the look that you want. If it's a tongue, you need to tighten it up and make it look like a tongue, and if it's a fire, then obviously you need to make it look like fire. And possibly add a little bit more. Coming into the middle part of the tattoo around this white bit here, you need to tighten this up. This area needs tightening up a lot. It needs a lot of work. And then over on the right hand side next to the right ear, the texture's telling me that it looks a little bit overworked. But that could just be the texture of the person's skin. I do not know. Like I said, critiques without me knowing the information is hard to judge, but it kind of looks like you are a little bit overworked on that area. Coming down the bottom, you need to transition off your blacks a lot better. You do not have a nice blend down here, so you need to transition off your blacks better. But all that just comes with time, and when you work on your shading more, it'll get neater and it'll get better. But at the moment it is pretty choppy, but you know, I can tell who it is, and there is problems with this tattoo, don't get me wrong, but if you can tell who the tattoo is against a tattoo that is absolutely out this world but it doesn't look like the person it's meant to look like, then technically you have a better tattoo because you nailed the look of what you were going for. Okay, now so we are on to the last critique for this video, and I wanted to save this one till last. It came with quite a lengthy email. I just want to point out that the artist said that they did this tattoo 3 years ago or 2 years ago, and they've been tattooing for 5 years, and they wanted my opinion to see if it was the same as theirs. So it's not a critique of a, you know, newer tattoo at where that person is at now. I'm sure they are a lot better now, and looking at the tattoo, it's, you know, really good, but you'll see. Anyway, this is the tattoo. As you can see, it is really good. This guy was 3 years in when he started doing this tattoo. First off, I just want to point out that the bottom of the tattoo around the mouth area and the nose is buttery smooth, mate, and I love that. I love how you've also put the white in there also, or it looks like you've put white in. I'm pretty sure you've put white in on the highlights around the mouth, and it's gave a beautiful effect, man. But moving up onto the forehead, it kind of looks like you've spent a lot of time on the mouth to get it buttery smooth, but then when you've got to the forehead, you haven't spent as much time on there. What it looks like to me is that you used a bigger mag and then like brushed over the top of it, but it's not gave the solid look as that you have down the bottom around the mouth area. Also, what I would say is you've not concentrated too much on the cracks in Pennywise's head. You've got the cracks in there, but you've kind of done your own thing. They're not, you know, when it comes to realism, again, you've kind of come away from the reference on that particular area. You can see in the top right of top left of Pennywise's head, there's this nice big crack down there, but On yours, it's not there. So although the cracks are in there, you've not stuck to the reference too much on those cracks, and you've done yourself a bit of a disservice, in my opinion. Coming up to the hair, if you look at the bottom of the quiff area, there's a nice dark spot, and you can tell where the dark shadow is of the hair and where the hair starts. On yours, you don't have that. It's kind of all one tone, but you do have the basic shape in there of the hair and the shadow. But because it's all one tone, there's no separation. So yeah, I would recommend, or I would have done, is used black in that area. Now when it comes to the hair itself, for tattooing, I just want to point out, for tattooing for 3 years, I think this is what the majority of people would have done. I certainly would have done hair like this when I was 3 years in. Now what you've done is the hair is very, very wispy, and you may not have known how to achieve that look, which is completely fine. And what you've ended up doing is just getting the basic outline of the hair with the shading on the top, and adding a few little like dashes in there and creating a massive highlight on that hair so you don't actually see the full detail. Like I said, I would have done that, and a few other people that I know would have done that, and anyone at this stage in their career I'm sure would have done that, because achieving hair that's so fine like that is a hard look to pull off. Same with the right hand side. I can see that you've done, again, these little dashes, and you've got the basic direction there, but all it serves to do is make your hair look more fluffy than it does fine, like Pennywise's hair really is. You can see the direction of you pushing up is fine, that's on the top there, but the hair is a lot more wispy, it's a lot more you know, longer in length. You just gave a shorter, fluffier look. But having said that, again, it's fine. This tattoo is fine. If I was 3 years in, or if I knew that you was 3 years in and I got this tattoo, then I'd be more than happy to wear it. But you know, other than that, I love what you've done with the white, how you've accentuated the muscle structure on the eyebrows and around the eye area with the white, and how you've put it in the cheeks, around the chin, in the teeth, top of the lip. You know, it's for 3 years in, man, like, this is a really, really good tattoo. But those are the areas that personally, as I'm looking at this tattoo, that's what I see. You know, if you're gonna know more than me, because it's your tattoo, you've done the tattoo, you know what you're not happy with. But I think you've done great. But I honestly think you've done great. I think it's a great tattoo. Anyway, guys, that is all the critiques for today. I do apologise if your critique did not get shown. This was just a rapid fire critique on the things that I see just looking at the tattoo. I'm sorry if you wanted more, but this video would have been hours upon hours long if I'd gone through every single tattoo and properly nitpicked everything. So it was just more like a rapid fire critique of what I see wrong. Again, don't forget, if you're new around here, please subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow my Instagram also. If you've learned anything from any of my videos, do me that one favour and follow my Instagram. But guys, I shall seize you all in the next video. Peace.